So from a First Nations point of view, not only do the white European folks come with ideas of, I want this land, whatever, the Pope gave me justification to have the land, but I'm also coming with a model of how to organize society that has nothing to do with, very little to do with family, community, myth, storytelling, but it all has to do with commerce and people and ownership.
Resource extraction in particular. It's about pulling resources off this land, shipping them overseas to make profit for corporations that don't even live here. So much of the foundation of the country has been based off of that. And now we've come to a place where it's less that, but that's still a big chunk of what we do. We still ship raw logs to Japan to be made into things that they sell for 4 or 5 times, 10 times more.
We ship live horses to Japan.
We ship oil down to the States to be refined in refineries and turned into all these, products and things like that. So we still do that, like as a country. And, for the longest, Canadian theater was born out of an era when all that these big nation building institutions like the NAC were producing British and American work, right? All the theaters were producing work that didn't come from this place, right? Which is why, Riga's play, Rita Joe, Ecstasy of Rita Joe, was such a revelation, when they opened this joint, because it was so revolutionary to have a story that spoke about the realities of this land.
But that's because we were cultural adolescents. And America and Britain were our parents, so to speak. Right. And so you did what your parents did. Yeah. And it took a rebellious teenager to say, wait a minute, maybe we should tell our own Canadian / Scottish British stories, let alone bring First Nations stories into it.
Yeah.
But that's the growing up process, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Are we growing up?
No. I don't think so. No, I think.
How old are we?
I don't know. Maybe in our early 20s. As a country, I would say. But if you were to look back, I'm always sort of, again, going back to lineage and going back to perspective, I'm always in a duality, right? I've always been in a place where I always felt like I had to, in the sort of colonial sense, build bridges. Nowadays, I think about it as we have to go on a canoe journey together. We have to get into a canoe together and go on a journey. There's different protocols involved with that than crossing a bridge or building a bridge. But in my early life, I just sort of gravitated to this role of explaining the indigenous perspective to the white perspective and vice versa. Although the white perspective didn't really need much explaining because it was so ubiquitous. But often in my early life, before I was even really like a professional artist, even though I was doing artsy things, I was always kind of explaining things to white people about like native existence, my native experience, my indigenous experience.
Did you get tired of that?
I have PTSD from it. Like literally, there was sometimes like friends would turn on me at parties because we would get into that conversation and they wouldn't like what I would be saying because I'd be saying things that challenge their
DNA.
Well, yeah,
their cultural DNA.
Yeah, their nationalism, challenging their nationalism, and just coming from my personal perspective. And having a broad, I'm a student of political science, so and history, and so I have a perspective, and I can see both sides, but I've always advocated for the indigenous side.